Now I have the pleasure to invite Right Honourable Mr. Subash Chandra Nembang, the Constituent Assembly Chairperson of Nepal, to graciously inaugurate the International Symposium by lighting the auspicious Nepali lamp. Dear ladies and gentlemen, may we have a big round of applause.
Honourable Minister Sharma, Honourable Minister of State for Environment and Forest, India, Excellencies, board members of ISIMO, distinguished participants, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for inviting me this morning to join you all to discuss the cause of climate change in the Hindu-Kush Himalayan region and identify the remedies. I fully agree with the previous speakers that the issue of climate change has come as an unprecedented challenge for the global community in the 21st century. It is indeed the greatest threat to the human survival. The problem was recognized by the global community with the adoption of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change as early as 1992. Unfortunately, despite the unanimous realization of the issue, the global community has not succeeded in making unanimous voice and take the collective measures to control the damage done by the climate change. No one needs to doubt that the Earth's climate is warming. People may have doubts and speculations on the effects and implications of the climate change, but no one doubts that the world faces a major challenge in our day-to-day life. I fully agree with the views expressed that the available data and analysis is inadequate to manage this challenge, as they would be insufficient to determine the scope and the nature of change in key areas. These shortfalls must be avoided in order to overcome skepticism and persisting doubts. Nonetheless, climate change occupies the central place in the global political agenda, and I wish you a wonderful discussion in the symposium. This international symposium, organized by ISIMO in the frame of Group on Earth Observation Systems of Systems, with the aim to promote the use and access to Earth observation for improved scientific knowledge and understanding for adaptation to climate change in the region. This symposium of scientists, researchers, and academia, development practitioners, and policymakers, and the donor community from the region and beyond to discuss the issue is a very important exercise and is quite timely. While I encourage you all to have free, frank, open and fruitful discussions, I also hope that the symposium would be able to produce some useful conclusions. Nepal has reasons to be concerned about climate change. As a developing country, it is more vulnerable to the effects of climate change due to its high dependence on climate-sensitive sectors like Himalayan glaciers, agriculture and forestry, and also for its low financial adaptive capacity too. We have noticed that human-induced climate change is already taking place in Nepal, as is commonly happening elsewhere. It seems that it is going to increase in the future decades. Nepal's vulnerability to damage from climate change due to increasing temperatures are more in high mountain areas, as glaciers and snowfields will recede and may even disappear there by causing a great shortage of water in the rivers. The shifting monsoon pattern could have negative impact on agriculture and also pose a threat to the infrastructure. The change in the patterns of the temperature and moisture due to restriction in migration of species could have adverse impact on biodiversity in high mountain areas. My country, Nepal, has recognized the issue and has realized the obligation to the convention and is making genuine effort towards reducing emissions of GHGs by participating and cooperating with the global community within the framework convention in international and regional level regarding the climate change issue. The recent 5-year plans have emphasized several alternative energy sources to reduce the domestic use of wood and fossil fuels with more use of hydropower and biogas in the society. The government of Nepal organized a cabinet meeting in Kalapathar at the base of Mount Everest ahead of the Copenhagen conference to draw world attention to the plight of the Himalayas. A host of policy measures have been announced by the government in order to confront the problem of climate change. However, as a resource-constrained country, Nepal needs to be supported by the rich and resourceful countries as it needs huge financial support to implement the policies. Mr. Chairman, I understand that Earth observation provides a unique opportunity for sustained observation, monitoring, and assessment of key variables. Unfortunately, Nepal lacks that particular capacity. However, I have noticed ICMOR's efforts in the Himalayan region to promote regional cooperation and linkages with international initiatives such as NASA. I believe that these efforts will help improve our ability so that sound environmental decisions could be taken in the region. We are also aware of the fact that both our neighboring countries, India and China, are leading nations on Earth observation. In this regard, I highly commend the ICMOR's effort to foster the regional cooperation on the Earth observation. Finally, without broader and deeper cooperation amongst all the stakeholders in the society, it is impossible to mitigate the negative impact of climate change. We must pursue the policies which bring them in tandem and also make them work together for the common benefit of all in our respective societies. With these few words, I thank the ICMOR for this opportunity to share my views with all of you, the distinguished academia from different countries. I hope you will have good discussions on the topic and also wish the symposium a success. Thank you all.